1 week after the deadly tornado outbreak in the middle of the country, many communities are mourning the nearly 100 people lost. One of the tornadoes made a direct hit on an Amazon facility in Edwardsville, Illinois. 6 people died in the building, and their families are asking pointed questions about safety at the facility. Reporter Gabriela Vidal from our Missouri affiliate, KMOV, reports.
The Lord will see us through.
Back at the scene, where a devastating tornado ripped through the Edwardsville Amazon warehouse.
And in this time of the most merriest time of the season, there's nothing to be merry about.
Family, friends, and other people throughout the St. Louis region gathered together to honor 6 lives. Clayton Cope, Kevin Dickey, Etheria Hebb, Austin McEwen, DeAndre Morrow, and Larry Verdon.
We're talking about people, human beings who showed up for work.
Etheria's stepmom and father were in the crowd.
She's a fun, bubbly, loving. She puts family first. Loved her son. She was so excited when she found out she was first pregnant.
Baby Hebb says her stepdaughter loved and was loved by everybody she met.
Every day I could hardly sleep at night. I think about her and just wake up just thinking of her.
Her life was taken too soon for something that could have been prevented. And we just want answers.
Etheria's family and others in attendance at tonight's vigil questioned whether Amazon had proper safety procedures in place and whether they could have done anything differently to prevent the loss of life.
You gotta tell these families why their loved ones weren't worth you taking the time to do what you should have done to be a business. You have to explain to these family members and loved ones why you were too busy making profits, so busy making profits that you didn't have time for the people.
Missouri Representative Cori Bush says she is drafting a letter with Senator Elizabeth Warren and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to demand answers from Amazon.
Explain what happened. Explain what they were supposed to do and what they didn't do. We are asking for answers, and if they won't just hand them over, we'll demand them a different way.
I asked Amazon for a response. A spokesperson for Amazon says their focus remains on families who've lost loved ones, the employees, and our community. For Etheria's family, they hope anything they can learn from the night she died will help protect future workers during a similar disaster and ensure these 6 lives were not lost in vain.
The right thing to be done, and for the people that lost their lives, and even the people that were injured, they should be taken care of.
The Lord will see us through.
In Edwardsville, Gabriela Vidal, News 4.
Spencer Soper is a technology reporter at Bloomberg News. He's been covering the deaths at that Amazon facility and joins us now. Spencer, welcome. Describe to us what workers in that facility experienced when the tornado hit.
Well, there were, I believe it was 46 workers in the facility. And when the tornado warning came through and they knew they were in imminent danger, Amazon, said managers reacted with alarms and even bullhorns, walking around and corralling everyone into this designated safe zone, which is actually a restroom in the center of the building. It's in a big open warehouse like that. It's dangerous in a tornado. If a tornado breaches the building somehow, you can have material flying this way and that. And so the safest place is just some kind of closed off area as far away from windows, doors, exterior walls as possible. And that was the bathroom. Most of the employees got there and survived. And that part of the building was untouched by the tornado. Somehow 7 others were kind of stranded on this other side of this building. It's a huge facility, 500,000 square feet. And that's the part that the tornado hit. And that's where 6 people died and 1 was injured.
Spencer, one of your stories details a text conversation in which an Amazon manager told a driver that she would be fired if she didn't keep delivering packages, despite the tornado sirens actually going off. Tell us about that story and what happened to that driver.
Yeah, so it's important to clarify a couple things. So Amazon this is Edwardsville, Illinois, and Amazon has kind of a cluster of facilities, warehouses and delivery stations where various things occur. It's common for them to have several facilities, not just one, because the different tasks of getting products packed up into your house are, done in different buildings. This particular tornado hit what is called a delivery station, and that's where these kind of blue branded Amazon vans are queued up, packed up with goods, and then sent for that final leg to your house. The tornado hit one of those delivery stations. This text exchange that you're talking about was with a dispatcher for these delivery drivers and the driver that worked at another delivery station just across the highway from the one that got hit by the tornado. But it highlights this kind of panic and unrest and just confusion about who's the boss and what to do, when to say, you know what, forget the packages, get yourself safe. And what happened was the driver's text messaging to this dispatcher, hey, there's sirens going off. I need to, basically just giving them a heads up. And it's like, okay, just keep delivering. We're watching things. We haven't heard anything from Amazon yet. We'll let you know. And the panic escalates, and then the driver's saying like, hey, I need to get somewhere safe. I'm surrounded by locked buildings. It's not ideal to be in a van in a tornado. Even OSHA says you should try to take shelter in a basement or a sturdy building. So this driver says this van is going to become my casket. And I want to come back to the station. And the response was, if you do that, it'll be perceived as you refusing your route. And it'll result in you not having a job tomorrow. And so that's the kind of environment, what we heard earlier on your program, and these kind of raw emotions that people are going through is this very question of, if you're an hourly worker, these people make maybe $18 an hour driving these vans, and you're delivering packages for a company that has very wealthy executives, including Jeff Bezos, who's the second wealthiest man in the world right now. When is your life and your safety more important than them making money? That's really at the crux of all of this right now.
Yeah, and I'm glad, Spencer, that you clarified that incident was actually a separate facility than the one that has received more focus, where that warehouse where so many people died. But altogether, it paints a picture,
random.
Right?
Yeah, and
right,
the tornado
and that all brings new attention.
Yeah, they didn't know where the tornado was.
I was going to say that. Exactly. And when you're talking about a humongous organization like Amazon that's already faced criticism before about how it treats its workers, all of that sort of folds into this narrative that Amazon is having to contend with. And an Amazon shareholder has actually filed a resolution calling for an independent audit of the company's working conditions. Do you have anything to report on that front? And do you think that is likely to lead to any changes at Amazon?
On the shareholder proposal, no. Amazon is a regular target of these. They come and go every year. Different types of shareholder proposals, often coming from different activist groups, with different priorities. Traditionally, if they're not aligned with what Amazon wants to do, they don't pass. They get shot down. So it'll put a spotlight on it a little bit, but those kind of resolutions generally don't go anywhere. But whether Amazon itself is looking from this thing and learning from it, I think absolutely. And and will they see if there's some extra steps they could take? I think that is critical. And there are a lot of questions, and that text exchange highlights it, because Amazon's delivery operation is bifurcated. So Amazon, runs these warehouses and these facilities and employs the bulk of the people in there. This delivery driver in the text exchange and some of the people that worked in the delivery station that was hit by the tornado were where the people died, they don't even work directly for Amazon. They work for these small businesses. There are hundreds of them around the country. They set up shop, they hire people, lease vans, and their exclusive purpose to exist is to deliver Amazon packages. And so that text exchange highlights where this dispatcher working for a small business serving Amazon, is reluctant to tell the driver to get somewhere safe because they're worried about, did Amazon say that should happen? Amazon now is saying that dispatcher was wrong and didn't follow policies and shouldn't have done what he did. And so you end up in this big finger pointing situation when something goes amiss. And so I sure hope Amazon learns from it, because it's really looking like a big, cluster bomb right now.
Yeah, I'm glad that you told us that Amazon at least has said that is not how any of their employees should be treated. Any more information about how the company's been responding to these criticisms?
Yeah, I mean, Amazon is saying, listen, we reacted quickly, and that swift action likely saved a lot of lives. A lot of people did evacuate to that safe zone, and we have to look beyond Amazon on this. This is a warehouse. Even the Illinois governor at press conferences saying that this incident makes him want to take a very thorough look at building codes to see if they're adequate in a climate where we're seeing more extreme and frequent weather events. So I think this goes beyond simply Amazon, and I think there's a lot of things for a lot of people to learn from this deadly incident.
All right, Spencer Soper, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.